Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 577.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Oh, there it goes. All right. She's like asking, when will it start? Well, it starts now. So here's how this works. For those of you who are here for the first time, or maybe the 100th and first time, as you know, you've got chat rooms below, so make sure that you type those in because many of those chat rooms are connected to my computer over there. Some of you want to give us a call at 417-344-2274. Again, that's 417-344-2274. You probably see Megan in the chat, and she will be the one that you will talk to, and then she'll put some details on the screen for me, and then you and I can chat and get your questions answered. For those of you that are students, feel free to call in, but make sure that you put it inside the Facebook group as well, so that if for some reason I need to see it, I can do so by looking right here. So either way it goes, it is what it is. With that being said, nice. So I see some of you have noticed my hair is missing. Anyway, it is what it is. That's what happens. Thank you for those kind words. Hey, and I see Ernesto, Robin, Donald, or what is going on? Anthony Pantano, how are you, sir? I'm glad that all of you guys are here. Again, for those of you inside the Facebook group, just like I said, go ahead and let me make sure I'm looking in the Facebook group. Please let this be the right one. Nope, it is not the right one. I want to make sure that I'm looking inside the Facebook group so that I can make sure I see your guys' questions as well. There it is. There we are. I found you. Excellent. So that way I can get your guys' questions. We'll make sure that everybody's questions get answered today, kind of like we always do, because, well, that's just how it goes. So for those of you watching on any other platforms other than inside of our Facebook group, again, type in the chat below or give us a call at 417-224, what was that? Hold on. 417-344-2274. 417-344-2274 is the number for you to dial. And in the meantime, I'm here to answer your questions. That's just kind of how this has gone for a number of years. For those of you I'm meeting for the first time, hi. My name is Jay, and I have the privilege of having transacted lots of real estate. And by lots, I mean many different strategies, many different states. Hundreds upon hundreds of transactions, landlord lending, well, not necessarily lending as much as it is creative acquisitions, so that we ended up with mortgages, all kinds. I have a lot of experience. Obviously, we're focused on short-term rentals today and going forward for so many reasons, because we think that is the best place in order to make your start in the real estate world and put yourself in the best position to be a long-term landlord. So your questions around real estate, business, landlording, lending, numbers, whatever, put them in the chat or give us a call, and we will do our best to get them answered. And with that being said, how this works is very simple. If you have a question, we answer it. If you don't ask a question, then I guess we're done for the day, and we've just at least said hello. So hopefully some of you are talking to Megan. Again, that number is 417-344-2274. And for those of you, I'm going to start looking for some of your questions, and we'll get those answered. Let's see, scroll down. I see Della's here. What's going on? This is good. Christopher Arias, I believe. He is asking a very important question. He's like, are you still hunting after apartment deals? You know what's interesting is that I get this from time to time because when I say the word short-term rentals, for some reason, people think that somehow has nothing to do with apartments or I've somehow transitioned away. No, still love apartments, as I've always. And we just changed who we put in the apartments. That's really the major difference there. Because, again, for those of you who have had an apartment deal before, you know that net operating income is the name of the game. And most importantly, if you manage your net operating income properly and get it to go up, then so does the value. So short-term rentals provides a very unique opportunity for those of you who do have apartments to actually make that happen. So yes, Christopher, very much still in the apartment game. I don't see that changing. I really don't. I mean, that and commercial stuff is kind of where we're probably going to stay for quite some time. All right. Looks like someone is calling in. Not quite sure who. And okay, cool. I see you. Excellent. All right. So we have an individual coming from, what is this, Minnesota. Let's do this. This is going to be interesting because he's cold today. Let's see what's going on. And Russell, how you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Trying to stay warm.
Yeah, exactly. I was here to say, if you're calling from Minnesota, it's got to be a little chilly. So we're at 80 degrees today. Where are you guys?
Oh, geez. I woke up, it was 16, I know. I'm not really sure what it's currently at
Did you
right
say
now.
16?
Yeah, it was pretty cold. Low 20, for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So how can we help other than transporting our son to your side of the world?
Okay, I had a guest check out today who was also a host. So they were obviously great guests.
Is it? This is always a fun part when the guests are hosts. But okay, let's hear how this goes.
Yeah. So no, it went well. And I had an idea, right? Because they left a message as they checked out and said, "Hey, we finished all our laundry." I was like, "What?" Because most guests don't do the laundry. So when I got there to inspect the unit, I noticed that they washed their towels and their sheets, and the sheets are in the dryer. So then I wanted to pick your brain on your thought regarding what if we were to send a message the night before to incentivize the guests to either do 1 or 2 loads of laundry and then credit them like $5 or $10 towards their stay. The reason I bring it up is I think that would save on laundry costs on my end, because I think with a 1-bedroom, I max out at maybe $25 per linen clean, because my linen, I'm charged $1 a pound, and there's 25-pound bags or 35-pound bags. Whether they're full or not, that's what I get charged. So obviously I want to maximize the bags and fill the linens. So my thought is, at the very least, what if I incentivize the guests to just clean their sheets and pillowcases and then launder the towels because those take so long to dry?
Got it.
I'm just trying to save on linen costs. What are your thoughts?
So my initial thought is, well, you actually answered my initial thought. I was like, what problem are we trying to solve? Okay, and then you volunteered that information. But here becomes the biggest challenge to that, as I see it, becomes what is or what happens to quality control? Meaning, how do you know that they cleaned it or did it well? And that then becomes just an issue. So I hear where you're coming from. What you're saying is, how can I get my linen costs down? I got you. I hear that. I don't think that's the best way to do it because, again, quality control becomes the first thing. And as soon as that goes out the window, the next person, the very next guest, or even worse, you credit them back. They did a horrible job, and then the cleaners get there and go, "These sheets are. I still have. You still have to wash them. So now you've paid twice, if you will, in order for that to happen. So that's the thing that I think you lose control over in that particular scenario. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
Um,
I wouldn't see an immediate
I-
credit right away.
What's that?
I wouldn't really give an immediate credit, right? I think you'd have to trust but verify. So
Totally
the
understand.
cleaners verified that. Yeah.
But I also will say this: I tend to shy away from that, asking the guests to do anything. If they do it on their own, great, wonderful. But the other thing that strikes me as funny, or I know will strike some as funny, and I'm not saying it's you or anyone in particular, but I do know for a fact that some guests will take offense to you're asking me to do laundry, like, and that'll show up in your review as I can't even believe they asked that. I thought I was supposed to get service. Because they'll take it as, and I'm not saying you would mean it this way, but they could take it as, do the laundry, otherwise we're going to give you a bad review.
I got that.
So that's really those are the things that get them, that become like concern for me if you what you're talking about.
Sure. I've seen that happen. I've seen communications from guests regarding like my departure checklist. They're like, "Oh, why do I pay a cleaning fee?" So I get that, the responses. So yeah, I get it.
And I'm assuming you're using a fluff and fold in the area.
Yes.
Okay. And are they doing delivery for you as well?
Yes, pickup and delivery.
Okay, great. So are linen costs that outrageous? Because it sound like you said you were paying $1. So if you're paying $1, I'm assuming they're weighing when dry.
They don't weigh it. It's a 25-pound bag and a 35-pound bag, and whether it's full to capacity or not, they still charge a $25 or $35.
Got it. That's the problem then. That's the issue. Why do they not do that? Why do they not
I think there are options to actually weigh it. If I remember correctly, I think I'm more on like a business account with them that does a higher volume, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. And $1 a pound, like I kind of did the math. It's for pickup and delivery, and usually a 2-day turnaround is pretty good. Another concern or problem I'm trying to solve is there's been a lot more of linens that aren't mine coming back, which makes me think, what if some of my linens are being misplaced in the system and going somewhere else?
That's interesting. Yes, these are all QA issues that absolutely have to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. So that's what I would be addressing. In fact, that's honestly what you're talking about is something we just addressed again last week with our current linen service provider, as well as interviewing another one. So I would definitely I would only want to pay for my weight, weighed dry, and if you're having issues where random items that aren't yours showing up, that is clearly a sign that they are trying to be efficient in terms of whose stuff is getting washed with whose, and they're not paying attention because you should only have in my mind, your stuff should be washed with your stuff, because otherwise it's going to get really hard to keep that stuff separate as you're experiencing.
Okay.
Well, and then the other thing is sometimes, and I've had this happen, your guests contribute items unbeknownst to you, and then those suddenly start showing up inside of your stuff. So that is also a possibility. So if I'm giving the linen service the benefit of the doubt, if your guest has decided, hey, I want to buy some extra sheets or buy, I don't know, something that you're like, I didn't buy that, but it starts showing up, that is also a possibility. I know I've had that happen.
Oh, sure. Okay. In my departure checklist, I request that they kind of strip the bed of their sheets and then throw towels in the bathtub. And one guest brought up, like, well, why do I have to strip the bed? And I'm paying a linen or a cleaning fee. And I said, well, it helps with guests not forgetting as many items. They're actually being proactive about actually going through the towels and sheets and kind of picking up stuff and looking. And I've seen less things be left. So when I explained that to her in my best hospitality type message, she's like, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. So,
well, then if that's the case, that's actually a good idea right there. So that one might get inserted into some of our messages now that you've just put that up there like that. Yeah. And what I would say is then put that, be upfront with that in the message, in the checkout message, instead of having to hope for them to know why you're asking. Tell them why you're in the checkout message immediately, so that, because somebody is invariably not going to ask and go, he made me work. And you know this. So just tell them, hey, to assist you, we have found, or something to the effect of, hey, we have found that when our guests take the time to strip the beds, so we're asking you to strip the beds because when our guests do this, we have found less items left behind. So instead of charging you some shipping and handling and all this other stuff, anyway, you get the idea of where I'm coming from. I would put that in the original message so that there is no doubt as to why you're asking, and it can't be misinterpreted as, you know, they're trying to make me work. Now, that doesn't mean someone isn't going to be cynical and still say it. But, you know, the point is at least you tried. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I totally got that. Okay, it's a good idea being proactive.
All right, dude. Well, try to stay warm.
Cool. Okay, cool. Thanks for taking the call.
No problem. All right, let's get over to San Clemente, where it's a little bit warmer. Ignat, how are you, sir?
Hey, Jay, I'm doing okay. Good to hear you. Wanted to give you a quick update on last meeting. So it basically, what happened was what we thought was going to happen, and it's got rescheduled to a December 3rd meeting. The good thing, you're right, December 3rd. The good thing is there was not a lot of opposition. Actually, there was no opposition that showed up at the last meeting. And then the city council only heard the good stuff from us, but I know they got the letters from the neighbors as well. But for the next one, they're going to resend all the invitations, all the notifications through the mail, through snail mail to all the neighbors. And we do expect them to show up. And I remember you mentioned to let you know ahead of time, and if you're able to attend, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly why I asked what day when you said December 3rd. So, yeah, I'm putting it down now. So I'll definitely, I will make it, well, it'll, obviously that's still a Tuesday, so it'll be like right after I'm done doing this on December 3rd. I will head down there. But
that would mean a world to me.
No problem.
I also spoke with Marcy, and she'll probably be able to stop by. I know she had it to her calendar. Anything else you need me to do to maybe remind you or anything like that?
I have a feeling, Ignat, knowing you as I do, you won't let me forget.
All right. Sounds fair. Anything you would recommend getting prepared on my end? I'm going to write a letter to city council member. I'm railing my other troops. I'm trying to get maybe another neighbor of mine or San Clemente residents to show up on my behalf. Anything you would recommend to prepare for that meeting ahead of time?
No, I think doing the things that you have always done by following the system and operating the way that you have, those are the things you should have been doing, right?
Right.
And you've already doing them. So if anything, it's documenting what you've already been doing, which is far and above any sort of requirements that they would have otherwise given you anyway. So that's what it's down to, is you're going to be demonstrating your competence and how you actually followed the system and made this whole thing work. And if you have if you want brownie and bonus points, if you happen to have been giving referrals to certain businesses, if you can get those businesses or business owners to show up with you, it'll probably be a good idea for you. I mean, because if you can it's one thing for you to say, and we, are bringing revenue to San Clemente, extra sales tax, blah, 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 blah. It's another to have the restaurateur or the whomever there who can say, yeah, absolutely. We see 5-10 of his customers every month, and it's great. So, if you have anything like that or relationships like that, then that would also be helpful for you.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good. I also had an idea, and I didn't get a chance to do it, but I'm going to start working on that. Reach out to my other San Clemente residents who stayed as short-term rental guests and ask them to come out and give a testimonial.
Oh, there you go. You got it. Yeah, that's good too. Killer.
Let me share one thing with you that I didn't get a chance to share with you last week. The noise aware system, right? The zoning department approved my permit. I comply with all of their little regulations. And when they gave the approval for the permit, for the short-term rental permit, they actually, because I texted them extensively about noise properties and all that. So I mentioned on the noise aware design. So as part of the short-term rental permit, they kind of made it a requirement. Hey, you know what? We're going to ask you to make it a requirement for you to install these noise-aware devices. I'm like, okay, no problem. We're already doing that, So that's an interesting point right there. The city made it a requirement after I told them what it is.
Excellent. Let's talk offline because I've got reach to the owner, and he and I have been discussing a number of things. This is good. And exactly, but again, you are touching on exactly why we are doing what we're doing is because I want more competent operators out there so that when they're approached or when something happens, we can tell them this is how it should be done. I mean, and when if we get that opportunity, then yeah, we can shape the legislation to where, to where it's common sense. It's what it needs to be, and everybody can be happy, so to speak, and coexist. That's a good job, man. I'm excited.
Thank you. Yeah. Cool. How do you want me to reach out to you offline?
Just send me a message on Facebook, like everybody does.
Got it. Will do. I'll be on. I'll be on. Right. Thank you so much for all your help.
No problem. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for listening as always, and I'm glad that you continue to support with each and every download and subscription and share. One of the things that I want to ask you, though, is where are you listening to me from right now? I know some of you, maybe you're on a treadmill, maybe you're washing dishes, maybe you're walking that dog, and some of you are actually in a vehicle driving right now. One of the fun things that you can do, get some of your time back, is begin to living a car-free existence. But even then, it can be a little complicated. So one of the things that I want you to do is I want you to go over to Zipcar. Go to joinzipcar.com/cashflow diary. It's a way that I am able to still go get a car just for a few hours, very, very simply, so that if I have a lot of errands to run and sheets to drop off and running to the short-term rentals, or if I just want to go for a long trip up to LA and back, etc., I can rent a car for a very, very short period of time. And the cool part is I don't even have to pay for any gas. Again, go to joinzipcar.com/cashflow diary.
Those of you watching possibly for the first time or how many ever times, what you're witnessing is that we tend to hold a lot of Q&A sessions. We want to make sure that our customers or students have the best information possible to go out there and operate their business and actually make them profitable and easy to run, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And from time to time, when opportunities like, what you just heard come up, then yeah, if we can help shape legislation in some way by helping a city council member understand, here's how these things operate, this is how it should be going, and if you do it this way, your incidence rates, your noise complaints, your trash complaints, your parking complaints, and the things that they're concerned about don't happen, then we're good. I mean, the opportunity is great, and it's there for every one of us. The challenge is that because the barrier to entry has become so low, the experience requirement is just not there. And I'm not saying that there needs to be one, but there has to be a standard operating procedure to go out there, make your business duplicatable, scalable, and most importantly, how can I still be a good neighbor right next door to everyone else. And that's exactly what we invest a significant amount of time in documenting and proving. And fortunately, we've had the fortune now of serving customers in 16 different countries. And we think it's, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty fun. And that's just pretty much what we do. All right. So some of you, if you want to call in, let me find that number again because I have to read it each time, 417-344-2274. Others of you, if you want to type in the chat, I see a number of questions in the chat, so I'm going to scoop a few of those right now and make that happen. All right. Megan is asking, what's the best way to avoid bed bugs in a unit before they appear? Is there any way to safeguard your unit from those nasty monsters? Got it. Typically, the hitchhikers, that's what I'll call them, come from someone brings them with them, right? So this is one of the reasons why, like, if you're using luggage racks, we tend to recommend and use metal ones as opposed to wooden ones. Because one, we don't want people to put their luggage on the bed. I'd rather them put it on the luggage rack. And if you do put it on the luggage rack, using a metal one is better than the wooden one. Obviously, we're using encasements inside the mattresses so that the mattress can be protected from the critters as well. Yet, outside of that, you can't stop. See, what I'm saying is someone can bring them in. The question is do they stay? And sometimes the answer is yes. Now, we've done almost 8,000 reservations at this point, and we've only had one incident where of that. So it's not like it's going to happen to you all the time. However, it does bring something up, Megan, that's really, really important, because I've seen this and I see this all the time. We'll make certain recommendations, for example, in terms of insurance, and other people will go, well, and one of the things I learned a long time ago is that there are certain things you can cut costs, but don't cut corners. And here's what I mean by that. Very simply, insurance is one of those places where you can cut the cost, but not the corner. I know that there's a number of, and I mean a number of companies that sound like it's the right kind of insurance that you're supposed to have. I'm aware of them. I'm aware that many of these companies are less expensive than some of the recommendations that we make. I'm also aware that their coverages are not what they need to be, and there will be holes. And you won't find this out until you need them to be there. That doesn't mean they won't pay the claim. It just means they probably have exclusions against things that actually matter. Chief among them, there are two things. One is, loss of income, and then two, it's bed bugs. And that can become a really serious thing. I mean, it is not uncommon for a bed bug infestation to cost you thousands of dollars to remediate, not to mention the lost revenue or lost revenue potential. And if you are happening to be operating in an apartment building, you need to be prepared to also treat the unit above, the unit below, the unit to the left, the unit to the right, or the unit behind, or the unit. You get what I'm saying. So there are many additional things to consider, and I don't always understand the thinking, but some individuals will choose, hey, well, this one's cheaper, so cool, it's the same thing. And unless you really understand insurance, and that doesn't mean call your broker, the guy or gal who sold it to you, and ask them, hey, is your policy the same as this? You really have to take the time on your insurance piece to know that you have the proper coverages, because the worst situation you could ever possibly put yourself in is realizing that, cool, you may have saved $100, $200 a year off your insurance premium, but now you're stuck with a claim that you did not, have not, cannot properly prepare for because, well, you tried to, save the money there. So it's just certain things to think about when you're trying to operate a business long term. Insurance is just one of those places where you kind of get what you pay for. So just keep that in mind and do your best to avoid the bed bugs in the first place. All right. Let me see. Let's go to Mary. Oh, hold on. I've lost my. Is anyone on the phone? Yep. See, it logged me out. Give me a second. Logging back in. Come on. There you go. Boom. Nope. Just totally logged me out of my phone. Huh. Anyway, I'll log back in right now. So let's see, Mary. Hey, Jay, I'm trying to go back in the mastermind to review how to price discount when we put up a new unit. However, I'm having trouble finding it. Also, when you did NPP, I thought there was a copy of the spreadsheet format, which I am trying to locate as well. Yes, inside the NPP product, No Pride Pricing, is a copy of the revenue and expenses. That's in there. So if you're in the NPP module, you'll be able to see that. If you are, let me see, how to price discount when we put up a new unit. Got it. So the majority of all the pricing and discounting as it relates to your discount curve, etc., are all inside the NPP module. So I think that's what you're referring to. Mary, if I'm wrong, then by all means ask it a different way, and hopefully I'll be able to give a different answer. Okay. Hey, Gina, what's going on? Gina Alexander. Everybody, she's, I believe, running for city council, if I'm not mistaken, in Gardena. I'm guessing, Gina, if I got that wrong, I'm sorry. You can tell everybody, though, in the chat. John, who's that? Mary? Robin, right here says it's in NPP under downloads. There you go. I love it when people help each other out. Hey, Jonathan, how are you doing? How do you get around the key fob issue for front door of apartment buildings? Should I avoid? I'm not seeing a complete thought on that second part of the sentence, so not sure where you're going with that. But I will tell you this, inside Module 3, inside the Mastermind, Jonathan, I don't know if you're a student, but I'm just saying, for the students, you'll get a more full explanation there. But at the end of the day, you don't necessarily get around the key fob issue. We tend to leave those key fobs inside the unit, and we have to get the guest to the unit the first time. So that's typically what we can do. Now, sometimes what we can do is use a lockbox, if you will. That is also has worked. Some students, depending on the level of customer we're talking about, you can obviously also meet the guest. But again, like I said, it's level of service that we're talking about here at this particular moment in time. All right. For those of you who are watching, if you wanted to call in, that number, where is it? oh, give me 1 second. I can't wait till our graphics get fixed again. It's 417-344-2274. 417-344-2274. Feel free to call in. In the meantime, I'm going to keep picking up some of these questions. You know what? Let me check our student Facebook group and see what we've got. What is that? Emily, she said on current question, if I'm a guest being offered the incentive to wash my sheets for a credit, I'm going to question if my current sheets are truly clean. Well, there's an interesting idea. I didn't even think about that, Emily. Yeah. Ew. Yeah. Russell, there's another reason to not do that. So anyway, Frank McCormick is asking, where can I find the templates for messages to clients? Frank, inside the Mastermind product, under the download section, is a PDF. I forgot how many pages it is, but you have all the templates, and we put the templates in there with the variables so that you can, in a lot of cases, just copy and paste. Let's see. LaShawn says, hello. Hey, how are you? And Robin says, just implemented NPP this week and was able to get a 2-week booking on one of my units. Thanks for all the knowledge, Robin. You are quite welcome. And for those of you wondering, like, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of pricing conversation going on. And I think I know why. Because as you enter into your lower seasons, pricing becomes important, because not like it wasn't important before, but you start to see, if you don't adjust, if you're not doing dynamic pricing in some way, shape, or form, you are either, well, you're leaving money on the table, or you're having higher vacancy than you actually could have. And I think that's what's happening, is that people are making that transition. And as they make that transition, they are understanding that they need a different strategy for that particular season. And that's great. And I'm glad that, Robin, that you've been able to do that, as well as many, many others. So this is good. All right, let's see what else we've got. Let me scroll back through the questions. Again, anyone, if you want to call in, it's 417-344-2274. We have a few more minutes left. What is that? No, I entered that one. William Boyd. Let's do this. Hi, Jay. I have an opportunity to buy an 8-unit apartment building. That's awesome. 5 units are vacant and 3 units are occupied on month-to-month lease. All units are going to need to be rehabbed. Okay. I would like to use all the units as a short-term rental. Okay. Do you think this would be a good deal? It's in a quiet neighborhood in Chicago, 10 minutes from downtown. Thanks for your feedback. Got it. Chicago is probably really cold right now, but hello to you, William, and stay warm. With that being said, do I think it's a good deal? Now, some of you who have been here for a while or known me in any stretch of the imagination, you know how I feel about the words good deal. And so, William, as a way of educating and answering your question at the same time, here's what I'm going to say. A good deal for me is not necessarily a good deal for you, and a good deal for you is not necessarily a good deal for the next person. There is no de facto, definitive good deal. However, there is a customer that your business is best suited to serve. For example, Walmart, Target, and Nordstrom all sell shirts, all of them. Now, I don't care where you get your shirt from, but the likelihood, I'm not saying they don't, but the likelihood that all 3 of those retail chains source their shirts from the same place is not likely, okay? And nor is the quality the same, nor is the customer that visits there the same, nor is the expectation from that product the same, okay? And everything changes all along that supply chain relative to that. What is that saying? That is saying what Walmart would consider a good deal on the shirt is not the same thing that Nordstrom would consider, because there are other factors, chief among them their customer's expectation. So, William, the answer to your question is, who do you want to serve? If the person that you are looking to serve would find that particular location and its number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and its walkability, and or how easy it is to get to, it being situated, would you say 10 minutes? Something like that? 10 minutes or 10 miles? I think it was, 10 minutes from downtown. If they would find that a convenient thing based upon what it is that they're there to do, then it could work out great. That doesn't mean anything other than you must consider, as the entrepreneur, you're about to open a restaurant. There's no way. You know what? That might be the best deal on pasta ever, right? But if you're opening up a Greek restaurant that's only going to serve various salads, do you really need it's not a good deal for you. You're not going to use it. My point is simple. Once you go through module 1 in the mastermind, we spend hours literally hammering this one point for this very reason, because you won't know if it's a good deal until you've considered the customer. Could you imagine if someone was staying at, say, a Ritz-Carlton? Would they consider the Motel 6 a good deal? Probably not, even though the price is significantly less, right? And would the person staying at the Motel 6 consider the Ritz-Carlton a good deal? No, probably not, because they'd be like, man, this is overpriced. So, and until you've considered that, no one has the ability to tell you, only your customer. So understanding, the building is good, and it just sounds like you have a lot of real estate experience. I get this question mostly from individuals who have real estate experience, and that's great. Yet, it's not the correct questions to be asking at this stage. What's most important, what's going to drive your reviews and the growth of your business, is meeting your customers' expectations. And you get to choose. Who do you want to serve? Who else we got? Oh, let's see, Christopher. What markets do you search for apartment deals in? At this stage, Christopher, I don't really actively search. My email box they tend to come to me at this particular moment in time. We're not being proactive in looking per se as much as we are there coming to us. However, if I was being proactive in looking, Long Beach would be on the list for sure. Philadelphia would be on that list. Raleigh and Fayetteville, North Carolina would be on that list. San Clemente would be on that list. Those are some that just come to mind right now. So let's see. Monty, I stayed at an Airbnb recently, and they asked me to do some cleaning at the end of my stay. Not a cool experience. I don't clean up at a hotel. Exactly. So, Russell, you clearly struck a chord with your idea here. So this is the feedback that's coming in. I'm going to suggest we not do this ever because it's just not working out. Is it me? Am I blurry? I don't think. Oh, I know what happened. That's this camera, isn't it? This camera was blurry for a second because what happens is that it does this autofocus thing and it'll focus behind me, and then I can see it now. So I should be good. Anyway, we all good now. Thanks for the info. The background is in focus instead of the foreground. Yep, that's exactly right. I get it. Here, better. It's okay now. Yep. What in the world? South. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling because I'm trying to figure out where the questions are. Okay, you guys are having a complete conversation without me, and got it. Italian Emperor. Interesting name for someone on YouTube right there. What are ways you can find owners that are willing to do subleasing for Airbnb? Got it. So here's a couple of things that I can tell from the way this question is asked, that you're not yet a student, Italian Emperor, and that's fine. Thank you for asking. Thank you for being on the YouTube channel and watching and all of those things. A couple of things to make sure that you understand. You are not subleasing. That's really important to understand. And you do not have an Airbnb business. I know the common nomenclature is I have an Airbnb business. That is so false, so wrong. And it limits the capacity. If you start off thinking that way, it is what it is. Anyway, don't do that. You have a short-term rental business. You provide short-term housing. Anyway, a whole nother day. What it comes down to, though, is finding a landlord isn't overly complicated. And not to make it sound overly simple, but look for a for rent sign and call it. And I know that sounds like, yeah, but I have all of these other questions, and I understand, because there is a system to how to have that conversation and how to talk about what it is that you do, so that you're in a position, and you're in a strong position and a good negotiating position to actually get what it is that you need. And I'm not trying to gloss over that, but I will say this. If you just want to begin to understand that, we have a completely complimentary presentation you can go to at cashflowdiary.com/star. We cover this so that you can, I think even in that presentation, I give you a script of what to say so that you can at least get the conversation started with the landlord going in the correct direction to be able to make that work. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com/star, STAR. And, start there is what I would say. Obviously, there's more to it, but at the end of the day, that should at least get you going. All right, I see another person on the line, so let's see if I can't pick them up here. And I believe I'm talking to Dee Dee. Do I have that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome, Dee Dee. It's telling me you're near Philadelphia. Is that true?
Yes, suburbs of Philly.
Awesome. I just got back from Philly a couple of weeks ago. You have an amazing city.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. I actually converted my garage to a carriage house.
To a
And I
what?
have a carriage house.
Oh, okay. Continue.
I guess you guys call it, I don't know what you call it out there, casita or whatever. But anyway, so I have 3 units, 2 studios and one bedroom.
Okay.
And actually, they're doing amazing, except for the 1 bedroom. People, they want the long-term rental. They look at it and they say, can I rent this for 3 months? Can I rent this for 6 months? Can I rent this for 30 days? And I want to try to figure out how I can prevent that, because I'm losing a lot of money. When I'm looking at the algorithm, I'm making more money with these tiny studios than I'm doing with the 1 bedroom.
Okay. And now, so a couple of things. So that I can have frame of reference, are you currently a Cash Flow Diary student? Because that'll help me answer you differently.
No.
Using the right language. Okay, got it. All right. I
But
didn't
I will
think
be.
on what you said, but I think I now, okay, got it. I'm sorry, you have what?
I said, but I will be.
I appreciate that too. All right. So here's a couple of things. Similar to the last thing that I said a second ago. Well, let me ask this. Are the 2 studios and the 1 bedroom apartment in the same building or same location?
Yes, same building. What I did was I converted a 4-car garage to 3 apartment or apartment units. So it's part of my property. I own it.
Oh, so it's attached to your residence?
No, it sits behind the residence, way behind it. It was, yeah.
So if I'm looking at this properly, then what you're really saying is what was for lack of a better way of putting it, a single family house with a detached, really large garage, now a second dwelling on that same parcel of land.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, understood. And then I'm assuming the 1 bedroom is upstairs and the other 2 are downstairs?
No, they're all on the same level. It's a single floor.
Interesting.
Remember, it was a garage. It was 4-car garage.
Well, yeah, when you said 4-car, so again, it's a California.
There were 4
Some
bays.
of our 4-car garages are 2 stories, so that's what I had in my head.
Oh, no. It's single unit, single floor.
Okay, got it. Totally understood. Now, with that being said, first of all, the phenomenon that it feels like you're experiencing is very true. I tell people this all the time. I've got some 1 bedrooms and studios in LA, and I've also have some studios in Long Beach, and I've got 1 bedroom and in Fullerton, 2 bedrooms in Fullerton. I've also been in the city of Costa Mesa and Irvine and Dana Point. I've been many places, and it is not uncommon for a smaller square foot location to actually outperform a larger square foot location, especially on a net profit basis. So that does not surprise me that you are experiencing that at all. Oh. Now, is the question, should I convert the 1 bedroom to 2 more studios, or like really what's the challenge?
No, that's not going to happen. It was going to be my retirement in-law suite. So, no, I'm just renting it out for the time being on short-term rental platform.
Okay. But, I mean, so long as it's making money, it's not, I get that it's not making as much, but if it's making money, then there's not, I get you like, how can I make more money?
Exactly.
Yeah, I got that. And that typically what tends to happen is the customer who is using or is okay with a studio, like, for example, because of our Long Beach locations, they tend to skew towards a younger demographic simply because they're mostly studios and they're not typically our family style product. That's not to say families won't stay in a studio, but I have learned that a family does kind of prefer some privacy, specifically with the wall, and that can make a huge difference. So
they're all very private units. They're all very private units. They have
Sure.
parking directly in front of it. But I think the reason is because I'm in a there's a kind of high tech business area,
Okay.
and a lot of the people that ask about the long term rental are saying, I'm on contract work in this area.
Yes.
And I'd like to, so yeah, I basically get business people.
So what's wrong? Why not rent to them?
A lot of business clients, guests.
What's wrong with renting on a monthly basis at whatever rate you're looking for? Just because they're asking for a month doesn't mean you have to discount it, nor does it mean you have to compete with a vacant unit.
Well, because of the tax purposes, when you're doing short-term rental, the IRS code said 28 days or less.
Yeah, I understand.
So I don't want to go over that line and having one unit that tends to, do that long-term rental type of thing. Plus, again, like I said, I'm losing money. If they could just stay 2 or 3 days, is there anything to change that? I mean, that you could think of, or that's just the way the cookie crumbles?
Well, I will say this. I've learned how to optimize to make sure that if a long-term rental person wants to be there, that we still get the numbers we need over the time period. That's really what it comes down to, whether they stay 1 day or 100 days. I think the longest we've done is 182 days, and it can work. I wouldn't refuse it. I would find a way to make it work. I mean, especially if you're getting the inquiry and they're corporate, their company is typically paying. I can't see how you make that not. I don't see how that doesn't work for you.
Because I actually didn't think about increasing the price to reflect what the other units are making.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So here's another idea that I'll just give you right here, because this one totally works. Not only do I keep the price the same, but sometimes what I will do is I will offer an additional incentive for that person who wants to stay 30 plus days. One of those incentives that we have actually paid for and given to someone is a 50-inch 4K HD TV.
Wow.
No. Now, yeah, straight up, because the cost of that television is less than any sort of discount.
You're so
that
right.
I would rather give you that. So here, have a TV. They're like, are you serious? I am absolutely serious. And then suddenly now watch them work like the Dickens to get their HR department to pay for that. Because they're getting a free TV.
That's true. Thank you. That's a good idea.
I try. That's what I do, Dee Dee. I do my best. I do my best. Anyway, I definitely look forward to seeing you join the community. If you got more questions, once you get in, there's a Facebook group. So after you register, you'll see a Facebook group that you'll be able to have access to. Make sure you join there, because there's a lot of quality operators. There's a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of discussion about things exactly like this all the time.
Wonderful. I look forward to it.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you soon. Excellent. Let's see. We've got a few more questions here. Let me scroll. Okay, for those of you who want to call in, it's 417-344-2274. And yes, calling in does get you the question answered faster, because it's right here. It's really easy. I don't have to scroll or anything. Okay. So Mike is asking, I have a guest that has a service dog they did not tell me about. Okay. I'm charging them a sanitation fee and asking them to vacate the property because they did not disclose the fact they have an animal, even though it says clearly in my house rules that no animals, and if there are, you risk your stay being terminated. Oh boy. This is problematic so far. I see you typed something in. You said, I informed Airbnb and they have not helped me resolve the issue at hand. What do I do? I got it. So, all right. I forget what state you're in. Denver. That's right. You're in Denver. So here's the deal. When you are working, oops, see, there it goes again. And I'm out of focus again. And here I am. Why does this camera do that? I've got to figure out why this camera does that because I don't know. All right. I will figure it out, but I'm back. Anyway, Denver. I'm not as fluent in Denver ADA as I am California ADA for obvious reasons. However, I will say this. I'm going to make an assumption that the ADA is very strong, and I think what you're creating is a very problematic situation right now. I know you want the animal gone, but if it is a legit service animal, you're probably going to have a problem here. That's why, because right now what's happening is that I don't think Airbnb knows even how to respond to you in this particular situation or instance, because whether they disclose or not, that service animal is there. I know how you feel. You feel taken advantage of. You feel like you should have said something, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the only thing you can do is to help them understand. Like, see, in California, I know for sure, and I know this is also true in Arizona, is that it's actually against the law to declare an animal a service animal that's actually not a service animal. Now, you can't overtly ask them about it and all these other things, but you can remind them and say, hey, okay, thank you for letting us know that this is, I popped out again. Thank you for letting us know that this is indeed a service animal. And because it's a service animal, then what you can do is remind them of what's required and let them know that the state has these penalties for falsely declaring a service animal. All right, so that way the expectation is still set. For example, one of the expectations is simply that the animal be with the handler at all times, meaning you can't leave them there in your unit, which is great, because there's not much you can do about that. There's a number of requirements. My point is simply saying this is, if for some reason this person is not working with an actual service animal, and notice I'm not saying emotional support animal. I just want to be really clear about this. Then you may remind them that there are consequences for false actions. However, if that actually is a service animal, if there's damages due to the animal being there, then okay, that's one thing. It's a slippery slope that you're on, my friend, and I know I don't like it when people don't disclose it too, and yet it's part of the business. So keep us updated on how this develops, because I am curious. Very. Let me see. Let's keep going. Interesting call. Nope. I'm kept going once again. The call-in number 417-344-2274. They're saying they don't have to tell you that they have a service dog. Mike, they're correct. They don't have to. But they do, once they do disclose, and it's there, they do have to follow the rules that are set. So I'm with you, my friend. I don't like it either. And it feels like, okay, and I have found that people who are, legitimately using service animals, they understand these rules. They're not used to them. They're not necessarily used to us helping them follow them, but they know. So I would say, let's see. What is this? I'm now concerned about Superhost status and need 3 more 5-star ratings before year end. One booking vid. I don't understand that word. One booking vid on location that will likely reduce my rating. When and how best to offer a transfer to upper scale unit at same price? Booking is over Christmas holiday 4 nights. I'm going to try reading that again. If I don't get it, I'm just going to ask you to reword what you're asking. I'm now concerned about superhost status and need 3 more 5-star ratings before year end. That's clear. One booking vid on a location that will likely reduce my rating. Okay, I'm thinking you're trying to communicate that there was a booking, there's a reservation that didn't go well, and you're expecting a bad review. Got it. When and how best to offer a transfer to an upper scale unit at the same price. Booking is over Christmas, holiday, 4 nights. I'm sorry. I don't understand what you're asking. Please re-ask it and use different words so that I can have a shot at getting it. 417-344-2274. Let me see. Oh, wow. We are still talking in the chat about this whole Russell, you have set it off. Let me see. So let's look. Ladero is saying we only ask our guests to toss all the used towels in the tub. Okay, that's fine. That I can see that. This is to help them keep off the wooden floors or carpet. Okay, we do ask the dishwasher is loaded, but if they don't, no big deal. But we keep all items left behind, and if a guest doesn't request and pay for the return of the item, lost and found, or donate 15 later. Yep, our lost and found is ginormous. Ginormous. Yep. Absolutely. Let's see. Okay, what is this? Say, Russell says, for first-time guests, I've received far more positive feedback from the departure checklist. From the experienced guests who seem to know everything, I received more of negative feedback regarding the departure checklist. The majority of my guests are new to the experience, and the way I present it is more of a request, knock on wood. I have never received a negative review explaining that I am asking for the guest to clean before departure. Got it. So, Russell, this actually brings up another unique feature of some of the systems and tools that we are always talking. Oh, I see someone. I think someone's calling in. Anyway, I'm sure Megan will catch it in a second. But this brings up another thing that I want to bring up right here is you can set an automated message to go, or a version of your departure message to go, based upon the number of reviews, or if it's a first-time guest, etc. Because what you're saying is first-timers appreciated, the experienced people not so much. So you can switch that so that the first-timers get that information and the experienced people don't. Maybe that assists you in some way, shape, or form, but I would totally look into that. Let's see, Italian Emperor. What are ways you can market your short-term rental business, like websites? And how do you become a student? I'll answer that in reverse. You become a student by starting, again, that same presentation I mentioned earlier, cashflowdiary.com/star, STAR. We have 2 products. It is it's what's called the Blueprint and the Mastermind. Always recommend the Mastermind simply because it has everything in there to get to that 7-figure level that people are always wanting or saying that they would like to do. And I will make reference to the different resources. In general, the Blueprint, which has just been updated, by the way, the Blueprint is designed to help you get a unit. And talking about that first one, things related to scaling and automation, they're not there because we're only talking about a unit. So if your goal is to get 1 unit, stop there. If you have the goal for 2, 10, 20, 40 more, then that's where the Mastermind product is exactly for. So with that being said, inside the Blueprint, we literally go over, I want to say somewhere near 60 different websites and many strategies to go out there to acquire your customers. There's an unlimited number. There's obviously social media is one. I'm not saying go do radio. Obviously, radio is another. There are too many ways to market. What's important, Italian Emperor, is to understand that before you start marketing, you need to know whom you are serving. And one of the pieces inside the Mastermind product, Module 1, we go over on the Who Do You Want to Serve worksheet, There's an entire section of understanding your customer, and part of that is so that when you do go to market, you know where to market. So the ways and where you market your short-term rental business are also dependent upon whom you are serving. For example, many of us, or many of you've probably been on an airplane once or twice, and you've seen that, was it Sky Mall? I think that's one. There's another airplane magazine that's always there. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, if you flip through those, you'll see full-page ads for certain medical procedures. One of which that I know that I've seen there is plastic surgery or reconstruction, that type of guy or gal who does that. Why do they put their information there? Well, because they are looking for customers who are typically more affluent, and they're willing to fly for the best person for this particular type of procedure. You've got captured attention. That is one way that they market. And why do they do it specifically in that magazine? Because it works. They have figured out how to find their customer. You don't necessarily see that ad on television or hear it on the radio. That's not to say that there aren't some who are that enterprising. And I've never been targeted on Facebook, but who knows? Maybe they are there too. My point is, when you understand your customer, and only until you understand your customer, should you even begin to consider marketing and where. But inside the blueprint, especially in the 2.0 version, we go through about 60 different sites that are targeted for certain types of customers, whatever that type of customer you would like to attract, and that way you at least know where they are and what you need to do about it. So hopefully that makes some sense. But thanks for asking the question. It's a good one for sure. Okay, got it. It says, by the way, my name is Lawrence Passarillo. I don't even know if I got that right. If I messed it up, I'm going to go back to calling you Italian Emperor. So let me know if I got that right. Let me see. Is this recorded? Yes, LaShawn, these are all recorded. Our students have access to them so that they can watch them all the time. Okay. David, how are you doing? He is asking me a question that I have not been asking in a long time. He's asking me, can I still dunk a basketball? That's a good question, Dave. I'm going to go for no, but I don't know. That doesn't mean you haven't just inspired me to possibly go back and try. I will say this, though. It's been a while since I've been off the basketball court for sure. And if you have never dunked a basketball in your life, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, try. It feels like flying. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, that's great. Let's see. Keisha is asking, with the TV incentive, do you send it to their home address? Well, when we have done the TV incentive, we've actually taken it to our unit and left it there, because that we just gave it to them there. So we brought it to the unit, and here you go. And they take it with them. How they take a 50-inch TV with them, not my problem. They just take it with them, and I'm good with that. So, yeah, we would have gladly have sent it there, but they seem to prefer it. I'm like, whatever, it's your TV, not mine. So there it is. Tiffany says, hey, Jay, looking to buy linens in bulk. Any suggestions? Tiffany, I'm assuming you're a student, and take advantage of our discount for students. It's at cashflowdiary.com/silky sheets. That is SILKYSHEETS. So use that, and then when you get to checkout, it's Cashflow Diary 16. It'll give you 15% off. That's where we get our sheets from, and I promise you, we buy them hundreds of pounds at a time, and they definitely so bulk, no problem. Now I see another caller on the line. Let's get this. Who is that? Mike, what's going on?
Hey, Jay, sorry to hog your time.
Yeah, you're doing fine, man. That's what this is for. It's easier here than – see, here's the thing. There's a number of students who try to send me messages on Facebook, and then they get upset that I can't respond. They just don't understand. There's a lot of y'all. But right here, just the time that's carved out where it's really easy for me to go, okay, bring your question, and then I can get it answered. Anyway, what's going on, man?
Okay. So it's like kind of two-part, but, we started touching on it. It's the service animal thing. That part of that those people is they're being very dishonest with what they're doing. They broke other house rules on top of that.
Oh, I believe you. This
So
is part of frustrating. So I understand
Right.
what you're saying. I feel I've been in your situation more than once.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess I'm basically so with those people they tried to resolve it with the Airbnb resolution guy, and they took forever to get back to him. So he basically was only able to talk to him at the end of his shift, and then he left without solving the issue. But they said they would pay for their extra guests that they didn't tell me about, but they're totally not regarding the animal. So I guess I don't have any leverage on that at all, even though that's in the rules, that the house rule, that there's no animals allowed.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Because so it's kind of this weird double-edged sword. Once that, if they give the word service animal, there are just many things that the ADA protects from a discrimination standpoint that you as the provider of housing cannot do.
Right.
Including, well, then show me what they can do. You can't do that. Okay? You just can't.
So they say they have papers for the animal and they can send them over, and they snuck the animal in there. So I the only reason I knew is because I saw the animal poke out in Vivint camera.
Yeah,
So
no, I know. Yeah, you're using the system. It alerted you. The system did what it was supposed to do. You're like, yo, that ain't right. I got you. And there's not much you can do about it other than help them understand. Then, therefore, here's the things we expect. Since you have a service animal, this is what we expect from you during your time here, is that you follow the rest of the rules. If you want the benefits, so to speak, you're going to follow the rest of the rules. Because typically the one that's broken the most is that they leave the animal alone.
And they've done that, because I've seen the neighbor come out of their house and it triggers the Vivint camera, and the dog is barking at the neighbors. Yep,
and those are hints that it's probably not a service animal, and and that's exactly, these are the things that you want to be communicating to them. Hey, thank you for bringing your service, and so you need to you can't use the word pet. Make sure you refer to the animal as a service animal. Let them know that, hey, we're just noticing that your service animal was left unattended according to Section 3 or, Paragraph 3, Section 12, blah, blah, blah. You're not supposed to do that. We're going to need for you to keep the animal with you at all times so that you can remain in compliance and keep your reservation. Because now we have something. If they're going to call it a service animal, but then not follow the rules for having a service animal, now you've got something. But until then, I know how you feel, bro. I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They're a mess. And then and then I have another guest that's trying to extend, but they're pricing. They're offering to pay me less than they've already paid me for the month that they're here, and they want to stay for 5 more months at a lesser price moving into the higher season. And I already offered them the big screen and all, and they didn't bite on it. So is there any, if there's, what's that?
Now, let me ask you the question: would you still be profitable at the lower number?
It's about $7, maybe $15 over break even.
Why are we even having this conversation, bro?
So I should accept it.
No. You hold on. You said $15 over break even.
Right.
For an entire month?
That will span until May 1st.
No reason to even have this conversation. That's a complete next situation.
Right. All right. Okay. That's what I thought.
That's what I'm saying. What I meant by why are we having this conversation is like, why are we even entertaining the idea of a $15 per month profit for 5? No.
Right.
Go.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. So, yep.
Yeah. And if they have a problem with it, you can tell them I said so.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, no,
Right.
absolutely not.
Yep. Okay.
Cool?
Cool.
All right, man. Talk to you
All
soon.
right. Thanks, Jay. All right.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, let's see. All right. So we've got a couple more questions, but let me make sure the Facebook group is getting attended to. I don't understand why this camera in the autofocus is doing what it's doing. That literally is not supposed to happen right there. Hello. Like, it's all kinds of jacked up. I'll have to look at it later. Anyway, let me see. What is this? David Manuel. With respect to service animals, is there a way to obtain pre-booking verification before accepting a booking request? Short answer, no. If it's a service animal, the animal is coming. Period. It's coming. Okay, it's coming. Just is. My wife disclaimer. Please feel free to attempt to dunk a basketball, but do so at your own risk. Like, thanks, honey. That's awesome. Oh, okay. Let's keep going here. Do we have another call? No calls. Okay, let's get to the end of these questions in the chat. I'm looking for the rest of the questions. I'm scrolling, and Italian and persist. Thanks. I'll check out the website. That's cool. Aaron Sayers, Jay, do you allow your students to use you as a reference? What kind of a reference? What do you mean? They're usually. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, Aaron. All right. So if I'm interpreting this correctly, Aaron, what you're saying is, hey, Jay, I don't have any experience yet, and I need the first one. And I think here's my belief. My belief system is such that if I use you as a reference, the landlord is now going to say yes. Well, that's not quite true. And we teach you how to not need to do that. So at the end of the day, we want you to be your own person. That doesn't mean that now, especially from those who have been working in a local market, I've definitely helped. I've helped them get into buildings for sure, because either A, I'm probably going into that building anyway. So that definitely has happened, but it's also not necessary at all, Aaron, under any circumstances, because we're going to make sure that you are confident and competent. And one of the ways that we do that, for those who actually upgrade to the mastermind, you get an additional 6-hour training with me directly. And it's a group training. We do it once a month. And what happens is that I walk you through that process to make sure getting your first unit is as easy as humanly possible. I'm going to take you through that process and give you exact words, exact answers to the questions that come up most frequently, so that you can be as confident and as competent as possible from day one with 0 units, while making sure the landlord knows you have 0 units and it's okay. So that's really what it comes down to at the end of the day, is understanding how to stand in that space and still be you at the end of the day. So we totally address that and go through it, because, hey, we want to make sure that everybody's prepared and absolutely can handle it in any way, shape, or form. Looks like we have one more person calling in, so we'll probably make that the last caller, and I'm looking for the questions. All right, so Cindy Tups, what do you do when a guest book and have rental remorse? That's a good word for it. Rental remorse, and want their money back. They call Airbnb and complain about getting out of their booking. Cindy, it's very standard. Our standard operating procedure is to stick, assuming, because when you say rental remorse, I interpret that as there's nothing wrong with the units, nothing was broken. It's just not what they, quote unquote, expected. For whatever reason, they had a different expectation. We did everything we were supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to stick to our cancellation policy. They're free to cancel. Obviously, we let them know that, and we enforce our cancellation policy. That's what we do. Unless there's some reason to not do that, then that's what we do, which most of the time means that's what we do. So hopefully that helps in some way, shape, or form. And then, let me see, going back. It says basically, Aaron says the department wants 3 business references minus bank and insurance. I have 1 unit now, basically only have 1 reference. I'm looking to grow. Got it. Aaron, that sounds like you're talking to something other than an owner-controlled building. Module 1, Blueprint. Module 1, Mastermind. This is exactly what we talk about, is going to owner-controlled buildings. Most of the time when I'm encountering those questions, that's where that comes from, is when I'm dealing with a REIT or something other than an owner-controlled building. So I would focus there. Build your resume, build your experience through owner-controlled buildings, so that when it comes time to, or when you want some of the fancier, flashier product, you're in a position to make that happen, because it can become difficult. You have to have a certain amount of business experience and acumen that you can communicate about in order to make these things happen. That's not to say it doesn't. It's just to say, I'm going to give you the path of least resistance. What you're endeavoring to do is already difficult. Don't make it harder on yourself by working with an organization like a REIT that has proven themselves to be more unstable, specifically for our business model, than what an owner-controlled building would do for you long term. Let me see. I think I got that. And then I think I have a person in the queue. I'm guessing, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Is there a Sean there?
Yes.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
So far, so good. How can I help you?
So I have a question regarding when to use VA. My understanding from your teaching is like we do like hooks in Guesty, right? We also have Guesty staff answering questions. Do we use Guesty for the non-business hours?
Okay, hold on.
I mean, the VAs. I
understand what you said. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. Well, actually, I just have a very basic question. Are you currently a Cashflow Diary student?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. We've migrated from Guesty a while ago. Because we found them just to be too expensive at the end of the day. Too expensive relative to what it is that they have to offer. Now, that especially as you scale, that percentage of revenue model that they've been on, and especially since they've taken more investor capital, has been, I'll just call it problematic. Now, with that being said, what we do today and what we've typically done is we will hire and train our own individual customer experience teams that have proven themselves to be more reliable, more consistent, and actually able to deliver a higher quality experience at a lower price than what Guesty was able to do. How many units do you have, Sean?
I don't have any yet. I'm still learning.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't concern. All right. So one of the things that it can be difficult to do, I wouldn't worry about the VAs. Well, let me put it this way. The system that we have, you can run it, quote unquote, yourself with very minimal hours in the day until about 30 units. Now, from a quality of life standpoint, you may make other decisions sooner, and that's completely fine. So typically that happens for a lot of people around somewhere between 15 to 20 units. They start to feel the pressure of man, I want someone else to do this. Or if you've done it long enough, you just get over sometimes the attitude and the feeling that you can receive from guests whom you are serving. In fact, hospitality is one of the industries that has the highest turnover ratio. So it kind of makes sense, is really what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be surprised if you felt that way. It wouldn't shock me at all. Now, with that being said, I would encourage you to more strongly build, because see, here's what it comes down to. When you're trying to hire a third party to do your customer experience, they're going to follow their standard operating procedures more than they're going to follow yours. So one of the benefits of starting from where you are is that you'll be able to develop your standard operating procedures. And in fact, one of the pieces inside the mastermind, again, I don't know if you've looked at it or taken advantage of it yet, is that we give you a way to start that process of developing your own as well as some of our own so that you have some standard operating procedures from which to start as opposed to starting from zero. And then by doing some of the jobs yourself, you're going to find there's a certain way you prefer to communicate. There's a certain way you prefer to do things for your business to add your signature to develop the customer experience that you want your guest to have. And we have found that to be way more successful long-term than trying to use a third-party service in that way to actually make that happen. Does that make sense?
Yes. So do you need to have another staff or, I don't know, maybe again? Do I have to cover 24 hours while I sleep that make sure, people are asking questions?
So we did not cover 24 hours until we were after 20 units. So we were not 24 hours until after 20 units. One of the tools that you're going to use as you continue to follow the system, it will tell you when your quote unquote busiest messaging hours are. So, and I think for us for a while, we did not have coverage from, I think it was from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. every day. It was 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. was always just open because we did not have 24-hour coverage yet because we didn't have enough staff, enough people, enough revenue, enough things. But when I did the analysis, I realized the percentage or volume of messages from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Pacific time was not, significant. And so it didn't really matter that someone wasn't there. Now, today we have 24 and we respond to everything within 7 minutes, but you're not going to start there because typically in order to run 24-hour coverage, I think you can safely, reasonably do it with a minimum of 5 individuals running 40-hour weeks. So it's going to be a minute before you are at that stage. And when you only have one unit, the frequency with which that person needs to communicate to you, especially once they're there, is not the overly frequent. And because you only have one unit, the volume of messages that you have at that time is also not overly frequent, and it's not going to require the late night stuff. As your inventory grows, however, you're going to want to be able to optimize that, but it's not something that I wouldn't be overly concerned with it until you're in your teens in terms of number of units or bedrooms. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. What we do. Go ahead.
Just one more simple question. How do I find your listings to kind of learn more about how you structure your listing and words and stuff?
If you look in the mastermind, module 4 and module 5, we have too many examples than I even care to even think about.
Module 4 and 5.
Yep.
Got it.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's what we do. I'm glad. Thanks for calling in. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like we are near that time. It's that time where there are no more calls. There seem to be no more questions. And at the end of the day, I guess you're just tired of talking to me. And that's fine. It's all good. Anyway, for those of you who've been here for the first time, hopefully we were able to help you in some way, move you one step closer to making your business bigger, better, badder. And for those of you wondering, wow, I'd like to be down with this community too, just go over to cashflowdiary.com/star. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com/STAR. We would love to have you. And do me a favor. Make sure that you leave no question unanswered, because that's exactly why we have our Facebook group. That's why we do these Tuesday calls. Because at the end of the day, you make no money on an opportunity you don't take advantage of. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.